Okay, welcome. Good morning, good evening. I have to say the same like all the others. Welcome to the second talk of the day. This talk is about product architecture. So this is an idea because there's a lot of talking about software and technology and business, but there's something in between. That's the product. And many times the product is a little bit overseen because people talking a lot about products, but what is a product and what it's about to developing products and developing software products. And this is the first talk about this one, the idea of product architecture. Let's look at the current reality. We'll start with a small video about how the current reality most of the time looks. I experienced this by myself for many, many times. So let's see if I can click on play.
Hi. Your software doesn't have a collaboration mode. Yeah, that's right. It doesn't. Yeah, but I was told that it would. Who told you it would? I don't know, the sales guy who sold it to me. Can you hang on a second? Did you tell the customer that our software has a collaboration mode? Oh, yeah, I totally did that. Right, but it doesn't. Yeah, but if our software couldn't do that, then they weren't going to sign up. What did you think was going to happen when they realized that it didn't? Yeah, the product told me that they were making it a feature, so I was just hoping it would exist before the customer noticed. Hold on. Hey, what's up? Why does sales think you're adding a collaboration feature? A what? Yeah, that tracks. Like something you can work on together, edit at the same time, that kind of thing? Never heard of that. What? That's not a bad idea. 1 second. Is it too late to add one more feature to this sprint? I can fix the bugs, or I can add the new feature. Then let's do both. Cool. Good. 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 Good news. So that feature is coming, just not for another week or so. Who's running this place? Hey Siri, what is agile?
Okay, like I said, I experienced this many times in my real life. So who I am, I'm Steffen. I'm doing product stuff since roughly 2008. I'm a product consultant at Mayflower, a German-based software company. And I was part of many product development efforts, starting from big enterprise projects to startups and also to hardware products. So it's about, I have many role descriptions, product manager, product owner, whatever. I'm doing stuff with product. That's normally how I try to explain it. So before we start on talking about product architecture, I think it's important to talk about what products are, because this is a common misconception. We are all using the word of product all day. And so what are products? Products are everywhere and we use them all day. So you're joining this session today and using many, many different products. You're using Zoom as a software product for video conferencing. You're using your hardware, that's also a product. You're using your internet provider, that's also a product. So products are everywhere. We talk about them, but we don't really know and we're not really aware what products are. So we are surrounded by products and we are developing products all the time. So basically products will have two dimensions, and that's important for me to understand before we can start into product architecture. There's one dimension, that's the customer and the user dimension. That's about purchasing and using the product. There's a distinction between customer and user, that's by intention, because many times customers and users are something different. You're having customers that are the people buying the software or the product, and you're having users, people that are using the software. And so it's important to understand this. This is one of the dimensions of product, is the human, the persons, the people that are using and buying the software, customers and users. And also there's a business dimension for sure, because in the end somebody has to produce these products and has to create these products. That's business. So in the end, product is something in between the customer and the user and the business. But what is this product in between, and what is the main reason why we're having these products? And it's for exchanging value. Because what we do is we are having products that are creating a value for the customer, and therefore they are creating a value for the business. This value exchange is happening all the time. I'm using my phone, I'm purchasing this and I'm getting a value. I can be connected to my loved ones, but also I pay some money for this one. Also paying for the services on this. So it's always exchanging value for the customer and creating value for businesses. So products mainly are a vehicle for value exchange. And that's important to understand, because when we talk about products, we're having products everywhere around us. It's always we're exchanging some value for us as customers, or for the people that are using the products, and for the business that are producing them. So what is software? software as a product as well. You cannot just build software, because software is always something that has users and it's creating value for these users and customers and exchanging this for value with the business. And there's one more thing, and that's also important to understand, because products are not just something I buy and I will pay money for, because products are more something I hire to achieve a certain progress. And that's interesting. That's a little bit derived from the jobs to be done theory, that I'm hiring products, because also, going back to my smartphone example, I can hire the smartphone for many different reasons. I can hire it to call my mom. I can hire it to use it as a flashlight to find in a dark place my lost keys. So I can hire products for different usages, but all the time I'm trying to achieve a progress. I want to be something better afterwards, because after I hired this product for calling my mom, I have called my mom, I achieved a progress. So that's also something to understand, that there's also always a progress, and these progresses are somehow connected. So products are enabling this progress, but how does this connection look? The concept of progress. So we're having, like I said, the customer that is want to make a progress, and if a customer is possible to make a progress, then the value exchange will happen and the business will make a progress as well. But these progresses depend on each other, because if I as a customer see no useful usage for this device, I will not buy it, I will not make any progress, so business also will not make any progress. So what about now technology? Because I was talking a lot about products and about business and customers and users, because technology is enabling all this progress. Because first, before we can create products, we have to create the technology for these products. So we have to kickstart this progress with technical progress. So if we are having the possibility to create technical progress, the customer will progress, and therefore the business will progress. So that's a chain of progress that is kickstarted by technology. And this is many times overseen not only by technology or product people, that's also overseen by business, because you cannot just put requirements somewhere and then suddenly something will happen, you will create value. You have to make sure that this progress is always enabled, and it's starting with technology. Important to understand. So technology is the basic. So okay, we know, I think I talked a lot about this, products are important. So what is next? We need to get product-centric. I think many of you heard this word already, and many organizations are now starting to getting more and more product-centric. Whatever this means, it's more like many times it's just replacing a little bit the wording. So using projects, now we're getting products, project managers getting project managers. But this is not product centricity how it should be. Because the product's looking in the end like this. You're creating Frankenstein's monster in different kinds. So you're having just a clue of features you put together in a big ball, and then it tries to stay alive. It has no soul. It's not really functional. Customers don't understand, why should I use this? How is this useful for me? How is it usable? So products, in the end, if we treat them not as a product as a whole, we create a lot of Frankenstein's monsters. And by myself, I also create a lot of these Frankenstein's monsters. And most of the time, the problem is they're having no soul. People want to have products that are having a soul. So there is a really important need to understand the product. And this is where product architecture, or the idea of product architecture, is starting. It's not really something new. So what is product architecture? This terminology of product architecture was first mentioned, I think, around 1995 by Karl Ulrich. So it's something that is already known as a terminology, and sometimes it's also used in some product talks or product concepts, but there's no really concept behind it till now. So product architecture should be something that is bringing together a picture of the product. The initial idea of product architecture was for hardware products. Now I removed this a little bit to digital products, but still it's very similar. So product architecture in the digital world or in the software world is, first of all, the arrangement of functionality of a product. I need to get out of these Frankenstein's monster modes where I have just features and somehow they will stick together. So it's really, I need to arrange these functionalities in a meaningful way. But also you have the mapping from a product functionality and features and their connection between others to business outcome. Because you're not producing products for the sake of producing products. You want to create business value. So it's very important to get to this point where you see how these product functionalities will bring up the business outcome or will drive the business outcome, because it's always about this value exchange and value exchange on both sides. And also the next level is then the connection to the technology, the specification of the required dependencies and interaction between technology and product. Like I said, the enablement of all these functionalities is starting on the technical level, because without technology we will not have any products. It's slightly hard to understand because many people say, oh, I'm just doing service products, but there are no service products anymore that are also not connected to some digital or that are not connected to digital services or the digital world. So it's always about technology, because if you're doing a service, you're having interfaces, you're having internal tools. That's also important. It's not product, it's nothing that's happening just with outside customers. If you're really, developing software for internal people, you're also having users, you're also having customers. You always also want to create value. It's these three main parts of the product architecture that need to be understood. There are three levels of capabilities in product architecture, and I want to go through these three before we get to the full picture what product architecture is about. I already mentioned these three levels shortly, but it's important to get them in a deeper understanding. So there's a business level. So that's the high-level business capabilities. And talking about business capabilities is not only talking about business goals, it's about the capabilities the business needs to stay alive in the market. And it's not about just reaching some goals, it's about new capabilities. For example, in the last few months, I was working for a project, and there are capabilities like you want to add digital services to your business. That's a capability. That's not a goal. You cannot achieve this goal, but you need to have this digital service somehow as a capability to stay competitive over time. So the business level and the business capabilities is the high-level understanding of which capabilities I need as a business to survive in the world of my product or my business. This business level then will lead to the product level. And that's the glue between these two terminologies of business and technology, because product is always the vehicle somewhere in between. It's more like I would like to call it the collaboration level between business and technology is the product. And it's not just a terminology or something that we can just put on some slides and now we're having product managers instead of project managers, or we have a project level. I also had customers that are asking me, hey, can you turn it into a project level that's more fitting our way we're doing it? No, we want to think about product. And you're not reaching product centricity when you're having a project level in between business and technology. The product level tries to capture the business capability, the product capabilities. So what capabilities the product needs to support these business capabilities one level up. Level up is not about levels in an organizational way of thinking. It's more like you need to structure these pictures somehow. So product level is the capabilities the product needs to have to support these business levels like the digital services. So the product can have product capabilities could be the possibility for the capability for collecting telemetry data. It was an IoT project, so we had some topics where we had to collect telemetry data. This is not only a feature, this is a capability my product needs to fulfill these capability of the business for reaching digital services. And last but not least, we're having the technical level. It's the lowest level, but it's the level where all the enablement starts. And also tech needs to build up capabilities that are now supporting all the other capabilities upwards and enabling in the end the business outcome. The picture could look like this. So this is maybe more demonstration, better to demonstrate it. So the business level has the business capability. We're having product level with the product capabilities. all these capabilities could be tied to some goals. That's totally fine, so having these small level up icons. But all of these capabilities could be also seen as superpowers I will add to my business, my product, and my technology. It's a little bit connecting to the storytelling part, because there's this picture of the hero's journey. So I will always want to add a new superpower to my superhero, and that's business, product, and technical level. And it's really like these, thinking about these superpowers can be really helpful to think about capabilities. So what new power I need to move on. These can be connected. So it's not that I need to have a one-to-one connection between a business capability and a product capability. I can connect them however I like. So it's very likely that I need to have more product capabilities to support one business capability, and the same applies to a technical level. This is also, so top-down, how the requirements flow. Because the requirements, the business capability defines the requirements for the product, or what do we need to achieve on product level, and also on a technical level, it's derived from the product level as well. So requirements are flowing business to tech, top to down. Like I said, it's not an org history, it's not an org chart. Be careful, because top-down always sounds like somebody is telling these are the requirements, but in the end it's mainly like this. But the enabling is happening the other way around, and that's important to understand, and that's the really shifting a little bit the thinking, because I cannot achieve one of these product capabilities without the technical capability first. So I need to be on this tech level very deep. I need to enable all these requirements first. So it's not about just putting requirements somewhere and everything is done, because if the enablement is not happening, they will stay just requirements. And this is happening all the time, because people think that they can just drop their requirements and they don't understand the connection. And this is now where the idea of product architecture is coming in, because this is something that should guide all the product development efforts in a way of a shared understanding. It's talking together. It's not created somewhere in a silent room and people then just show it on PowerPoint slides. It's something like a collaboration model to understand how these things are connected. It's helping business to understand the level of technical enablement that is needed. That's many times a little bit overseen, because if you're having product organizations, many times business is talking to product, and product is then magically somehow passing on these information to development, or the other way around. Tech is not really sure how these enablement, why are we doing this? What is the main goal we want to achieve? And it's really important to understand the why before you can start and can create something useful. How to get there, and that's way too much to talk about today in this talk, but I have captured one screenshot from one workshop we did in the last few months. So first of all, it's about decomposition. I need to understand what are the parts of my product. I need to deconstruct Frankenstein's monster and see all the different parts and how these are connected currently. This creates an understanding about the current functionality of a product and also about intended future product functionality that could be added. So this decomposition is the first time. It's really something about putting post-its and stuff together and thinking about how these things are connected and what do we currently have on a product level. Then, if we know that we are having these different product parts, then the three levels, so this is the picture in the middle, these three parts come in. And it's about talking together with business, technology, product, sales, and all these people you saw in the video up front, bringing them together and create this simple model of the product. It's really a simplification, but that's helpful already to create a shared understanding. So the business level now sees what all of parts of product we currently have, and they can guide now what are the business goals. And then you start to connect, okay, we're having this product functionality. Is there any business goal where we can connect this functionality? And if there's no business goal to connect this functionality, maybe it's not a good feature. Maybe it's not a product functionality we want to have. The tech level, the green post-its in the last line, also are very important, because this is then how these technical enablement will move upwards to product and how then it's connected to business. So it's always connecting these three layers in a collaborative way. Later on, you can use this as a starting point for technical modeling in any kind of way. So this is a really high-level view of getting to a product architecture, and I will now add a few words about what product architecture is and what it's not, because it's also important to understand. Decomposition, it's more like a composition again, and then you can derive from this technical concepts. This is something I would call product-centric, because you're now putting the product not just as an abstract terminology somewhere in the room, you are just now having the product as the connection layer between technology and business, really visible to all people in a very simple, understandable way. Because this product architecture can guide this centricity, because it's this abstraction of how these functionalities and capabilities across the all levels are connected. It's a high-level overview of the products. That's products by intention, because you can also put multiple products in this architecture. It's not about you have to have one product, you can also add multiple products, because it's very unlikely that you're having just a company that's developing really one product. But the business goals mainly connect to different products. So it's also, you can have different product lanes in there. It was not included in the example, but it's possible to also add different products there and then slice it out later to having single products and single product architectures. But it's important to also understand the whole product landscape. It's a cross-organizational collaboration model. So it's nothing the product manager does in the, like I said, in the silent room and just creating this product architecture, doing the decomposition, and then tell the people, hey, I created a nice PowerPoint slide. This is how it looks like. This is our product. No, it's for shared understanding, you need collaboration. And collaboration should be easy and simplified. That's also what also Henning was mentioning. Domain storytelling is using a really simple methodology. It's nothing complicated, so it should be as easy as possible, that people are not getting bored about, oh yeah, it's not another modeling effort, and business is feeling like, I don't understand what these tech people are talking about. Technology is like, that's a business goal. I have no idea what I should do this. I want to develop software. And the product people in the middle are like, I want to build features. So it's a cross-org collaboration model. So it's really important also to include the other stakeholders, like sales, like customer service, like product marketing. There are so many people that are somehow involved in product development, and I need to bring them all together. And it's very important, it's not yet another methodology. It's not a fixed approach. It's nothing where you need something very complicated, like I said, a specified model language or something like this. You just need a white wall and some post-its, and some people that know what business is doing, what product is doing, what technology is doing. So it's nothing really fixed. It's not another new methodology. It's also not a roadmap. That's also very important to understand, because it looks like a roadmap, because everything you order from left to right will automatically considered as a roadmap. It's not a roadmap. That's also why I had these "it's not a roadmap" sticky on the workshop, because people are like, okay, then we do this, 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 and this. No, it's not like this. It's a representation of the product. A roadmap can be derived from it, but this is also another big topic, but it's just how the product looks. It can be the starting point for a roadmap, that's for sure. And it could be also the starting point for other efforts. And that's also important. It should not replace any, and should not, and it will not replace user story mapping, domain storytelling, event storming. It's not replacing anything of them. It's just one level before you start this. You create your shared understanding, and then you know, okay, where do I need to dive deeper? And where do I need to understand what methodology I can use? Okay, maybe it's user story mapping, maybe it's event storming. It's not important. So it's more like this high-level representation of all the stuff you have, and then you can use it as a starting point for all the other efforts. So in the end, and I'm having the feeling that I'm too fast, but that's great, and we have a few questions and time left. There are 4 guiding principles for this product architecture. Like I said many times already, it should be simple as possible, because especially talking to high-level business people, they don't have any patience to learn something or to sit in workshops all day long. It should be as easy as possible. You need some post-its, you need a white wall. It should be shared. Shared, like I already said also, not in a way of I'm creating a PowerPoint slide and I will share it with people. It's a shared understanding. So if you're talking about the product in the end, everybody will have this picture, that's also why it should be very simple, in mind, and having these, okay, if we are developing this feature, we need this tech, we need this business, we're enabling this business capability, and we need this technical capabilities. It's a strategic tool. It's something about product strategy. It could be also the starting point for product strategy, because if I understand my product, I can develop a meaningful strategy. And therefore I need to understand my product together. Because many times product strategies are developed in some product departments, then presented to all the other people, then are slightly adjusted, but it's nothing that really takes into consideration the other levels. It's more like, okay, I will do what I think is the best strategy for my product. And it's specific. So it should be really clear what is, so ambiguities should be, mostly avoided. It should be clear if we talk about digital services, for example, as a business capability, what this is about. It's also in the shared understanding. So it should be very specific so that people know if somebody says we need to track telemetry data, okay, that's because of this and that. And these are the 4 guiding principles for product architecture, or for this kind of product architecture I wanted to introduce today. And that's already the end of my talk. I want to say thank you. If you're having any more questions or you're interested in more, just this is my Twitter handle. I'm still using Twitter, not these new stuff, but you can reach out to me at any time and ask me questions. And I think Stefan is already here, and I think there are already questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steffen. So we have a couple of questions here. The first one is, can we have an example from a business capability to this product capabilities and then technical capabilities?
Okay, so like I said, there's this company, I cannot put any names in here, but they want to have digital services. They're producing industrial goods, so it's really something they need to connect to the digital world, and they have this productability of digitalization of their services. So that's the business capability, sorry, not product capability. To have these options or to have this capability, the product needs to have different capabilities as well, like connecting the devices to the internet. That's a superpower the product needs to have. You need to somehow get connected. And this will then can be broken down to the technical level of what do we need? We need to have IoT gateway. We need to have IoT services, for example, as a technical capability. It's really a little bit abstract, but so this is these connection digital services. We want to have core devices connected. That's the product, and then we're having the technical of having these IoT implementations.
Okay, thank you. By the way, it was Jeremy's question. I have another one. I asked myself the same thing. So Søren asks, the product architecture diagram reminds me strongly of impact mapping. You mentioned a couple of other techniques, but was it an influence to you? How do these methods relate? Can you compare them?
So I think impact mapping is already on level. It's similar, but it's one level deeper or more specific. So it's not, impact mapping can help to understand products, but it's not really focusing on product, because it's also these business impact, and you're having the product also, you can include it, but it's slightly different and it's more into detail and more into a specific approach. And I was not influenced by this, because this is something I was using and developing so more by accident during talking about customers and with customers, and they always had the need, so what is our product? And impact mapping and all these other ways are not really helping them to getting the product in the focus.
Mm-hmm. Gabriel asks a question, I guess, about the decomposing. So he asks, I'm assuming he or her, they ask what is the granularity a product is defined at, and can a product have sub-products, and where do you stop?
You know, the default answer is always, it depends.
That's a very good
So
answer.
that's always the best answer you can give. No, but it's really like you have to find, it's more like you have to develop a feeling about how deep you can go and when you need to stop. It's important to have a high level understanding, for example, if you're having a customer platform, you're having user management, you're having for these devices, for example, you're having a fleet management, you need to manage here. So these are the high level product features, and these can be broken down because user management then have a role management, a login, a sign up, and all this stuff. So this is the level of granularity I normally try to get into. Like I said, if you're having multiple products, it's also possible to have these multiple product lanes, but you need to be careful that you're always having the right level of granularity between these multiple products as well, because if you're going one, so I don't care about if we need a link for a user login page. That's very much too into detail, but I need to have a user login. So that's okay, but not if it's a form, if this form is having 2 input fields or whatever.
Okay, thank you. And we have time for one last question before we switch to the next speaker. Sean or Jean, depending on, it depends on where they're from. When you have a large legacy system, is it too late for this product architecture?
It's never too late to start for product with product. So I, like I said, I'm really a product guy by heart. So I think it's even more important to deconstruct this large legacy system into a product thinking and into these different components and understand what these large legacy system has as functionality and features and capabilities, and then identifying these that are not needed anymore. Because this is where it's always starting, because if you're having these old legacy systems, then you're having this small feature and everybody's like, no, we cannot remove this. This is very important. And in the end, you find out it's not connected to any business capability, and it's just there because there was one user 10 years ago that was insisting on this feature. And so it's really important. And yeah, please start.
Okay, thank you. So that's all the time we have for the questions now, but maybe you can join the Zoom session later and answer a couple of more questions in writing if you want.
Or like I said, just drop me a message on Twitter. That's also always fine. And then we can get in contact and I can answer more questions. Thank you.